and welcome to the Fantasy News Show from the Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter and this is your weekly fix of fantasy goodness. On this week's show, I want to suck your blood. On Halloween, we return to Middle-earth, well, next year actually, and there's no place like home, unless it's a museum. But first we do start with a bit of sad news. Judge Dredd, Preacher and Punisher comic artist Steve Dillon has died at age 54. The legendary British comic book artist death was confirmed on Twitter by his brother Glenn, saying his big brother and hero had died in New York City. Excuse me. He was born in Luton in Bedfordshire in 1962, and when he was 16 he embarked on his first professional job, which was drawing the character Nick Fury in Hulk Weekly. So that's a brilliant first gig. In the 1980s, he regularly contributed to the Doctor Who magazine, and he also worked on the comic anthology Warrior from its inception in 1982. He also drew for the British sci-fi and fantasy comic 2000 AD, which is a classic over here, where he was perhaps best known for his work as an artist on Judge Dredd. I don't know what's happening today, I can't speak. In the late 1980s, Dillon relocated to the United States, where some of his most popular comic strips were created. It was at DC's Vertigo imprint that he collaborated with author Gareth Ennis, and first on the critically acclaimed Hellraiser series, and then on Preacher. Obviously, our thoughts are with his friends and family at this time. Games Workshop are to host a Warhammer 40k Open Days weekend. Fans of the Warhammer 40k will get a chance to explore all they love about the world and its miniatures at the Games Workshop, what they are calling the biggest and best Warhammer 40k Open Days to date. There's lots to do and see, as you'd probably expect. You can meet the members of the Heavy Metal team, Citadel Warriors, Citadel Miniature Designers, Army Painters, White Dwarf team, Warhammer World Studio, and also the Forge World Design Studio, as they show off their new creations, chat about them, and also share some of their favourite miniatures. There'll also be some demo pods, so there'll be things like demonstrating how to paint and then how to do other stuff. I didn't really look too far into that, but you can check it out on their website. You can also explore the exhibition centre, which is, I think it's permanently there, and it's packed with lots and lots of painted miniatures from, way back when the company first started right up to the present day. And you can also try your hand at Warhammer 40k related computer games too. So if you're interested in going, it all takes place at the Warhammer World venue in Nottingham in England on the 5th and 6th of November. To find out more and also to bag your tickets, you can visit their website, which is warhammerworld.games-workshop.com, and we'll put all the links in the description of this episode. Storybrooke 2 is the second convention celebrating all things Once Upon a Time. This weekend is a convention for fans of the TV hit show Once Upon a Time, with guest talks, photo and autograph sessions, and evening entertainment, plus there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on as well. The Fun and Frolics takes place on the weekend of the 18th and 20th to 20th of November at the Renaissance London Heathrow Hotel, which is close to, obviously, London Heathrow Airport in England. For more information and to book your tickets, you can go to rogueevent.co.uk and click on the Storybrooke 2 little button. How would you like to spend your Halloween? Yeah? Maybe you'd like to spend it in Count Dracula's castle. Scary. Not sure if I would. No, in fact, I would actually like this because it looks fantastic. The property website Airbnb have announced that the Bran Castle in Transylvania, which was the inspiration for Dracula's castle, has been listed on Airbnb for this year's Halloween. It is a competition though, you can't just go ahead and book it. Horror fans will have the chance to win a spooky night at the Vampire Lair, which will be hosted by the great-grandnephew, I'll get it right, great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker himself, Darcy Stoker. who is a well-respected vampire expert. Now that's the kind of job that I'd love. On the 31st of October, 2 guests will relive the story of Jonathan Harker, the protagonist from Dracula, as I'm sure you already know. And you can journey to the castle by horse-drawn carriage through the Transylvanian countryside as the sun sets towards the horizon, surrounded by, and this is on their website, surrounded by bats and the howling of wolves. So maybe there would be that. I'm not sure. I don't know if they can guarantee that. Anyway, after the tour, the guests will find a candlelit dinner waiting them, and before then they can settle into the castle, and I'm assuming you can explore it as well, if you dare, because I don't know if I'd like to. I don't know if you'd be the only 2 there. That would be spooky. The guests will be expected to sleep in luxurious velvet-trimmed coffins, completely alone. Well, good luck with that if you do win. If you think you can survive the night, then you better be quick, as the competition ends tonight at midnight. To enter, you simply have to look at the photo, or if you want to look at the photos of the castle, you can go to airbnb.co.uk/night-at/Dracula. The first Studio Ghibli TV series, Rona and the Robber's Daughter, is coming to Amazon. Amazon Studios has picked up the American rights to Rona the Robber's Daughter, which is a 26-episode Japanese animated series co-produced by Studio Ghibli, directed by Goro Miyazaki, and animated by the CGI animation studio Polygon. The series will be narrated by Gillian Anderson, probably best known for X-Files, but she's done a whole load of stuff as well. I really like her acting, she's brilliant. And it's based on the 1981 fantasy novel by Astrid Lindgren, the Swedish creator of Pippi Longstocking. So, yeah, there we go. Good calibre. The story follows a young girl growing up in the wild, and she lives in a woodland, basically, full of strange creatures, as the only child of a leader of a band of notorious thieves. Love that idea. In fact, I really do want to read the book. So according to Variety, the show is set for a release on Amazon Prime later this year. So if you've got Amazon Prime, I would probably recommend to check that out. HarperCollins has announced a new Tolkien book, and that's going to be published next year. A compilation of J.R.R. Tolkien's tales of Beren and Lúthien. Excuse me, I know you're probably hitting the TV screens now at this moment. I do struggle with pronouncing names, as regular viewers will know. And it will be edited by Christopher Tolkien and illustrated by Alan Lee. Really love his illustrations. And that will bring together material scattered through the 12-volume History of Middle-earth series. The earliest version of the tale of Beren and Lúthien was written in 1917. That's almost 100 years ago. So obviously next year is going to be the 100th anniversary, hence why the book. And that was when Beren was an elf and not a man, and the equivalent of Sauron was a large evil cat. Imagine that in Lord of the Rings. That'd be fantastic. The story underwent considerable revisions, as you know, throughout Tolkien's life, and was reworked both as prose and poetry. That's an interesting concept. The new book will demonstrate this evolution. So it's a little bit of history of how the tales evolved as well. So that's an interesting concept. Beren and Lúthien, I'm sure you can help me out how to pronounce this. Maybe we ought to do special episodes on how to pronounce names of fantasy characters. Yeah, that's a good idea. What do you reckon, Julian? Yeah, he's not even listening. He's not even listening. He has no idea what I'm talking about. That's going to be published, yes, as I say, it's 100 years since Tolkien's wife Edith danced for him in a small woodland. Apparently this is the inspiration. She danced for him in a small woodland glade filled with hemlocks in East Yorkshire. An event that Tolkien later acknowledged was the inspiration for the meeting of the immortal Lúthien Tinuveli and the mortal Beren in the glades beside Isle. Why do I do this to myself? Hey? Anyway, it's going to be a good book. That's the short version of that section. Need some coffee, I think. Kickstarter news. Keep Them Ruby is a Kickstarter campaign to conserve Dorothy's ruby slippers. Probably the most famous shoes in Hollywood's film history, The Wizard of Oz is now 77 years old, and the magical ruby slippers are in need of saving. The ruby slippers were created only to last the duration of filming, so they weren't, up to a massively high quality in terms of they just needed it for filming, that was it. And in 1979, an anonymous gift brought them to the National Museum of American History, where millions of fans have seen them since. The shoes are fragile, apparently, and are actively deteriorating, as you would expect. I mean, you see some of my shoes. The colour has faded and the slippers appear dull, and washed out. So when you see the film, they're really bright and sparkly. Plus, there are other, more structural defects and repair work that needs to be undertaken too. To preserve the ruby slippers on display, they have to have the optimum conditions, but they don't know what they are. So they're still figuring out how to display them without causing any further damage. And what they do know, though, is that they need calibrated light exposure as well as controlled humidity and temperature. So it's all going to be a bit experimental. They are, if you pledge, obviously you're not going to be pledging to get the ruby slippers, that'd be daft, you're just pledging to repair them. But they do have many thank you rewards for your money. And they're all designed by 6-time Tony Award-winning Broadway costume designer William Ivy Long. And these include, there's a t-shirt, there's a tote bag, there's posters, there's a museum membership and magazine, there's replica slippers, so yeah, you can get your own replica slippers. And also there's a lunch and group tour with a curator of the museum. Plus there's lots of other rewards as well. The National Museum of America is being transformed and renovated. What is wrong with me today? During the next few years, and I guess this is all part of this refurbishment. So the slippers are going to be moving to a new exhibition tentatively titled On With The Show in 2018. The campaign is already funded, hurrah! And it finishes on the 17th of November. Birthstone Dragons is a collection of prints, books, playing cards and more, all with a dragon theme, created by Jessica Fernberg. I'm sorry. This project has various things to pledge for, and they're all designed and illustrated by author and artist Jessica Fenberg. Articles to pledge for include the Birthstone Dragon book, which is 100 pages and is 6 by 9 inches hardcover, printed in full colour, with each of the 12 dragon species discussed in detail, with lots of illustrations, including close-up portraits, baby dragons, and even their eggs. Oh, isn't that sweet? The playing cards are poker-sized, printed on high-quality 310 GSM linen stock, comes in full colour, tuck box as well, and there are no repeat pictures, it says, so that's going to be, all the images are going to be different, which is, I think, it's quite an achievement. There are also prints of the 12 birthstone paintings, and they are available in 3 different sizes, 11 by 17 inches, 8.5 by 11 and 4 by 6 inches, and all the prints are signed. There are loads more rewards and pledges that you can do, and there's lots of stretch goals as well. The artwork is beautiful. Each dragon has its charm of itself, really to a high quality these drawings are. It's already funded, and it finishes on the 2nd of November. Lost Ember is a video game where you explore the realms of a fallen empire from a wolf's perspective. I find saying the word wolf quite tricky as well. In fact, I've probably only got about 4 words that I can properly pronounce in my vocabulary. In Lost Ember, you uncover the secrets of a fallen civilization as a wolf that has to find its place in the world. Bit of a mystery there. With the ability to control every animal you see. You have everything you need to find your way to Dracula, I think that's the name of the environment, it's a city actually, that shall answer all the questions that you find within this land. Created by Moon Eye Studios, they've financed the development of Lost Ember with contract works and side jobs, so they all work full time. This has been a passionate love project, basically. They have completed the project so far, but now they'd like to work on it full time, because then they can finish it, you know, and get it to you guys if you back it. There's lots of screenshots and video clips of the game, and it does look stunning. It really caught my eye. You know, first of all, I think you play this little wolf, and then you can actually, your kind of spirit goes into other animals. So I love that concept, because, you know, you can maybe go into a fish and then you're swimming around the ocean or rivers. So you can actually experience this and explore the world as different animals. So you can maybe go as a bird and then see it from high up. Love that idea. Lost Ember will be available for Xbox One, PC and the PlayStation 4. It's already funded and it finishes on the 14th of November. But that's all we have time for. And probably a lot of you are saying, thank the Lord, because he can't talk. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you can understand what I say. And remember, we do have a Friday show called the Friday Fantasy Show, obviously. Check it out. But remember, fellow imps, keep it unreal, especially if you can talk.